battlefields are everywhere. No need for soldiers, now's the time for those who really care. You are the heroes, cause the battlefields are everywhere. No need for soldiers, now's the time for those who really care. 6 feet apart, we're gonna come together. We hold our cards. We only have to play them right. 6 feet apart, we're gonna come together now. We hold all the cards. We only have to play them right.
Hello, you battle people. You Fuzz fans. You clicked on this because you're a fan of the Fuzz. This is going to be one of the easier videos, yet since we pump it into loads of amps, it's still going to be longer. I'm not a fan of the Fuzz, but with every Fuzz video I do, I understand more, I see more uses, and I'm starting to get it. Now, this one is one of the classic-y ones. It's a Fuzzface kind of a thing. They call it smiley because I can't say Fuzzface. I can. It doesn't have a face, it's not round, and it looks like this. It's the pedal pawn, well, I guess it's called the Fuzz. It doesn't even have a name. Couldn't be simpler. It's white, black, has volume, and fuzz. Now, the special thing about the Fuzzface, which I came to understand, is how it reacts to you pulling back the volume. It's very picky when it comes to impedances and stuff like this, so don't put a looper or a buffer in front of it. It hates that. I think buffered wahs also are a problem. Finicky pedals. And if you have a real one or one that's, you know, emulating the real one or being based on that circuit, it can create some problems here or there. So we're going to go into those, but we're also going to go into the sounds. That's it. The thing clocks in at 197 pounds, and I've seen it for 220 euros, so it's not a super dirt cheap one. It's not ultra boutique, but it's a two-knob pedal for 200 bucks. I'm not going to justify it. I'm not going to critique it. It costs what it costs if you want a good version of the smiley thing. I'm playing that with single coils because back in the day, that's what they had. This is my McMo Classic. What is that even? T Classic. That's what it's called. T Classic. Because vintage T, that's Friedman. And then they all have their words and names. With a strap today. Here's a clean sound from the... let's see, you can't even make that smaller. Come on, it's just 2 knobs. People can see the knobs. There you go. Starting at 9 o'clock roughly. Going into that amp, which is the Tone King, Sky King, and then in another section of the video, we go into many others. Into the aux with a Creamback 412. Immediately rounder, warm, and fuzz-esque, but subtle, okay? If you really want this thing to blow up, you're gonna have to crank that, well, one of those 2 knobs. still don't have a lot of, fuzz-escitude. Gonna crank that up to right about here. There, it's synced. You can immediately clean it up by just rolling back the volume a little bit. Your volume actually kind of acts as an on-off for the fuzz in a way. Cleans up incredibly. So check out what happens when you go that last little bit. Well, that's what happens, but also brightness comes in quite a bit. And when you go, it's a fuzz, so it's noisy. And also when you turn it down all the way, that's what happens. Don't turn it down all the way. Let's go with a classic effect for a classic sound. We're going into the echo fix all the way to the left there, which is actually a real tape delay, which I can get into my signal chain. And then we have a real classic signal chain now. If you bend too far, it still sounds like shit. So not just the blown up, warm, round fuzzescitude is what makes it fun. It's actually the fuzz goes away and you have this crunchy kind of a edge of breakup overdrive, which those two sounds almost have nothing to do with each other, but they're great. Oh, pedal pawn pedals come in a boutique kind of a pouch. Not real. No, that's gotta be fake leather. It is. It should be. That's kind of cool. I mean, yeah, you unbox it, you use it once, and you put it away, but it's a cool experience to have it come in that. Just saying. There is quite a bit to discover with those two knobs, actually with those three knobs, because this becomes part of your pedal. Just saying. So we're gonna move on to the Hamstead. Oh, I gotta get my switcher. Hamstead Artist 60 right there behind the pedal. Let's see what that does. That's clean. Killer pedal platform, just like the Tone King. Different. It's fuzzier with the Hamstead. Oh! Okay, the Hamstead. We, of course, have more amps. We're gonna go to, let me see, let's do the Mini Plexi, which should already be cranky. There we go, we have a little bit of some noise. It's a Marshall SV20H. Two different pedals with the knob. Moving on to the AC20, which is Voxish. It's a kind of a souped up AC30. Who would have thought that that works well? Well, I would have. Revv D20 is a pedal platform. That should be number 12. Here we go. Got it slightly cranky. moving on. JCM800 is already cranky. Should be. Push an amp that's already cranky, and there you have options. And then we have the Orange Rockerverb 50. That's going to be very different. There you go. You actually have a very different story in every amp. That is because those classic-y type of fuzzes that are literally built like they were used to back then. There's something going on with impedance. I don't understand things. But in this case, as you could clearly hear, every amp reacted to it very differently. And it wasn't just the gain settings. On the Rockerverb, all the bottom is gone. You have this focused sound, which could be really cool for leads in a mix. The Hamstead sounded fuzzier, as did the Mini Plexi. I prefer the Tone King. The moral of the story here is, know what type of amp you have and how it behaves with a classic smiley fuzz. Hey Leslie, can you make it bigger? Thank you. She's got her finger on the knob. It does those sounds great. Am I the biggest fan of those blown up fuzz sounds? You know what, for the power chords, yes. And it's kind of cool for a certain type of lead, but what I love is when you roll it back. But that also means you probably have to have a guitar with some kind of killer ohmage, something. Good electronics in your guitar will probably help to tickle the most out of this thing. I love it when you roll back the volume and you have this edge or break-up-y kind of, I'm going to call it overdrive sound, because then all of a sudden the fuzziness is gone and it's just beautiful big chords. But you got to keep it in that special range. And then when you want to go, woo, you bring it up. Now, again, I don't have the biggest experience with fuzzes on the market, especially very classic Fuzzface types. I have tested the JHS Smiley, and I don't see any reason why this isn't at least as good as that. And as authentic as that. Pedal Pawn, I think they're from Le Britain. You know, support a small company. It's a classic design, comes in a cool pouch. And if you're in the market for a Fuzzface, you might as well go for a white one. That's all I can say. I'm going to put a link to their website below. Also links to other stuff I used. And if you use those to Sweetwater and Thomann, I actually get a cut, which is very cool. So if you want to support me, just buy stuff there. If you're buying stuff anyway, if you want to support me, please do. Well, Patreon would be great, of course. But you can, what's totally free is subscribing to me and following me on Instagram and Facebook. That costs you nothing. And of course, hitting the subscribe below. The more of you I have, the more valuable I am to the brands, the more videos I can bring you. That's how it works. Thank you, Leslie. And animals at the end.
why they could not save you, Daddy. Oh, and every night I wonder why you chose to be unhappy.